بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's المقصد الأسنى في شرح أسماء الله الحسنى, translated as Al-Ghazali, the 99 Beautiful Names of God by David Murel and Nazi Dahir. And we are about to begin with part 1, chapter 1, on showing the meaning of the name, the named, and the naming. And this is page 5 of the Islamic Text Society's edition. The very last thing that we have covered was the reference to that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has 99 names, 100 minus 1, and these are considered tawqifi, these 99, because the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has 99 beautiful names. إن لله 99 اسما 100 إلا واحدا من أحصاها دخل الجنة. This is the source of this particular phrase, 100 إلا واحد. It comes from this hadith. This hadith does specify this particular group of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without enumerating, without mentioning these names. And are there other names? Well, there's another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in which he said, and it was a supplication, a dua, أسألك بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك أو علمته أحد من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك. This particular phrase, أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك, because had he taught the name, of course the dua includes, and I ask you with every name of yours that you have named yourself with, you taught it to someone from amongst your creation, a prophet, a messenger, an angel, a human being, etc. Or you have kept it with yourself, meaning that there are names in the kept from creation. Yes. Many have plunged into the matter of the name and the thing named, and taken different directions. And most of the groups have deviated from the truth. Some say that the name is the same as the thing named, but other than the act of naming. While others say the name is other than the thing named, but the same as the act of naming. Still, Third group, known for its cleverness in constructing arguments and in polemics in كلام، ومن ثالث معروف بالحذق في صناعة الجدل والكلام. What do they claim? This group claims that the name can be the same as the thing named, as we say of God Most High, that He is essence and existence, and that the name can also be other than the thing named, as in our saying that God is creator and provider. For these indicate creating and providing, which are other than Him. So it can be such that the name may not be said either to be the same as the thing named or other than it, as we say knowing and powerful. Both refer to power and knowing and power, yet attributes of God cannot be said to be the same as God or other than Him. Now, the dispute comes down to 2 points: whether or not the first one, whether or not the name is the same as the act of naming, and number 2, whether or not the name is identical with the thing named. The truth is that the name is different from both the act of naming and the thing named. والحق أن الاسم غير التسمية وغير المسمى. And that those 3 terms are distinct and not synonymous. There's no way to show the truth of this matter without explaining the meaning of each one of the 3 words separately, and then explaining what we mean when we say X is the same as Y or X other than Y. ثم بيان معنى قولنا هو ومعنى قولنا هو غيره. For this is the method of uncovering the truth in such things, and whoever departs from this method will not succeed at all. For every asserted knowing, فإن كل علم تصديقي, that is, whatever is susceptible of assertion or denial, كل ما يتطرق إليه التصديق أو التكذيب, is without doubt a proposition consisting of a subject, qualified, and a predicate, quality. And the relation of predicate to the subject. So it is inevitable that knowledge of the subject and its definition precede the assertion by way of conceiving its definition and its essential reality, followed by the knowledge of the predicate and its definition by way of conceiving its definition and its essential reality, and then attending to the relation of this predicate to the subject, whether it exists in it or is denied of it. For whoever wants to know, for example, whether angels are eternal or created must first know the meaning of the word angel, then the meaning of eternal and created, and then determine whether to affirm or deny one of the two predicates of angel. Um, I wonder whether I should insert here وعلم آدم الأسماء كلها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam the names of all things. Of course, the Muslim scholars the discussion here is way before as a theory of language, the origin of language. Like Ibn Jinni in the book Al-Khasa'is, in his book. He was a linguist, he was a grammarian, but he was a linguist, and he used meta language to speak about language itself. Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam to name things, or did he literally teach him the names of things? Let me just simply say one thing, and I hope that it's a long discussion really, and I love the discussion. But just remember, if Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam was endowed with the ability, and it's, of course, there is that much already, the ability to the ability to speak. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the human being, خلق الإنسان, and he taught him the language to express himself. علمه البيان. If Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam was still to wander around and still figure out the names of things, the functions of things, then how is it that he was warned against Satan, that he was asked to live with his spouse in the garden? Okay, it would mean that Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam would be given the commandments, if you will, at a later stage when he understands the names of things. Human beings acquire language from a social context. Either there is no social context, like Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, or there is no time to learn from social context, like in the case of Jesus Christ, peace upon him, because he spoke immediately after his birth, and literally immediately. فناداهم تحتها. He was the one, not the archangel Gabriel alayhi salam. So either no social context, or there is no room, because as a babe there is no way you could learn the language from a social context. Though in the case of Jesus Christ there was a social context, but there was no time. The name and the named. Again, for whoever wants to know, for example, whether angels are eternal, then the meaning of eternal and created. first know the meaning of the word angel, then the meaning of the word eternal, and then the word created, and then you figure out whether angels are eternal or created. Of course, it goes without saying that they are created, and everything in the universe is created. Other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there are no eternal beings. There shouldn't be, other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it would mean that that being is co-eternal. That would make the second being God also. That's an impossibility. Had there been gods other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then each one would have his share of creation that he created, because that's really and then there will be fights, and then no, it doesn't work like this. Likewise, there is no escape from knowing the meaning of name and of thing named, as well as knowing the meaning of identity and difference, so that one may conceivably know whether the name is identical or different from the thing named. In explaining the definition and essential reality of the name, we say that things have existence as individuals, in speech or in minds. Existence as individuals is the fundamental real existence, while existence in the mind is cognitional, formal existence, and existence in speech is verbal and indicative. So heaven, for example, has existence in itself as an individual reality. Then existence in our minds and souls, because the form of heaven is impressed in our eyes and then in our imagination, so that even if heaven were to disappear, for example, while we survived, the representation of heaven would still be present in our imagination. لأن صورة السماء تنطبع في أبصارنا ثم في خيالنا، حتى لو عدمت السماء مثلا وبقينا لكانت صورة السماء حاضرة في خيالنا. هذه الصورة هي التي يعبر عنها بالعلم، هو مثال المعلوم، فإنه محاك للمعلوم وموازن له. So knowledge is basically that مثال, that representation, that cognition. This representation, moreover, is what is expressed in knowledge, for it is the likeness of the object known, since it is similar to it and corresponds to it, much as the image reflected in a mirror, similar to the external form facing it. As for what exists in speech, it is the word composed of three segmented sounds. We'll see whether it relates. We talk about 3 or 4 in a second. The first of which is expressed by the letter Sin. The second is Mim. And the third is the alif, as when we say sama, heaven. Our saying indicates what is in the mind, and what is in the mind is a representation of that which exists, which corresponds to it. In fact, the fourth segment وعن الرابعة بالهمزة وعن الرابعة بالهمزة, because if you say سماء, you have sin, mim, alif, and hamza. So it should be 4 segments rather than 3. Our saying indicates what is in the mind, and what is in the mind is a representation of that which exists, which corresponds to it. For if there were no existence individuals, there would be no form impressed on the mind. And if there were no form impressed on the mind, and no man conscious of it, it would not be expressed in speech. So the word, the knowledge, and the object known are 3 distinct things. Though they mutually conform and correspond, and are sometimes confused by the dull-witted, and one of them may fail to be distinguished from the other. How could these objects fail to be distinguished from one another, given the properties associated with each of them, which are not connected with the other, insofar as man, for example, exists as an individual, sleeping and walking, living and dead, standing, walking, and sitting, are all associated with him. نائم ويقظان وحي وميت وماشي وقاعد. Okay. Sleeping and waking, living and dead. I think this is why they have missed the difference between living and dead, وحي وميت, okay. Standing, walking, and sitting. Standing, walking, and sitting. Sleeping and walking, that's نائم ويقظان. Living and dead, that's حي and ميت. The next, we should have only 2 now, but rather we have in translation we have 3. Standing, walking, and sitting. We have walking and sitting, and we don't have standing. Doesn't make much difference, but this is because we talk about 2, 2, and 2. So standing is Waqif, for example, we don't have that in Arabic. قائم, we don't have in Arabic. نائم ويقظان, 2. حي and ميت, 2. ماشي وقاعد, 2. Are all associated with him, but insofar as man exists in mind, subject, and predicate, general and specific, universal and particular, proposition, and the like are associated with it. And insofar as man exists in speech. Arabic, Persian, Turkish. So Arabic or Persian or Turkish are associated with it, as well as having many or few letters, and whether it be a noun, a verb, or a particle, and the like. This existence is something which can differ from time to time, and also vary according to the usage of countries, whereas existence in individuals and in the mind never varies with time or with cultures. So we talk about ومن حيث أنه موجود في اللسان يلحق أنه عربي وعجمي وتركي وزنجي. Okay. Arabic and non-Arabic. Okay. Persian, that's fine. وتركي, and that's really Turkish. And we have a fourth one really here in Arabic, وزنجي. وزنجي. So we talk about African languages. This existence does change, but that which is in so we talk about the human being, and in fact right now say al-insan, that's Arabic, human being, that's English. Okay, but the concept itself, the knowledge, the cognition does not change. فلا يختلف بالأعصار, no matter which culture, which tribe, which people, which geographic area, the concept does not change. The language does. Okay, let's insert another notion in terms of the origin of language. You have those who said that language is derived from mimicking nature. And whatever sound that exists in nature, the word itself would correspond to the sound. Okay. Now, if this were true, then the languages should not differ about the name of the sound. Okay. then we should not have a difference between the word insan and human being. Where tree in Arabic is shajara, and it's not even close. So had there been something natural about the name in this case, then they should at least have some shared letters. Like house and bait. One, I can go on and on. There are certain sounds. If you say the birds chirping, for example, zaq, zaqa, that's very far. That's very far. It does not really does not, in the absolute sense, close the door in the face of some words, because the word uff, and it is Quranic, prohibiting one from saying uff to one's parents, and the scholar said that this is really the because you talk about two letters, and it indicates that no matter how small the sound of uttering a sound that indicates complaining, rejection. So in this case, the sound and the word itself, they are identical, but it seems that this is very, very rare. I think suffice it for today, inshallah. And I think we still have more to talk about, and even in the same paragraph, try to catch up with this, inshallah, tomorrow. Until then, بإذن الله عز وجل، سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك، نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت، نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.